Harley-Davidson's biggest challenge is attracting a new generation of riders. The younger crowd wants modern, tech-savvy and affordable bikes that fit their lifestyle. Take Royal Enfield for example. While Harley dealerships struggle, Royal Enfield has seen explosive growth, selling over 800,000 motorcycles annually. Their success comes from a strong lineup of affordable retro-styled bikes that appeal to younger riders. This proves that there is demand for classic-looking motorcycles. Harley just needs to tap into it. And then there's the Honda GB350, another affordable, stylish retro bike that has gained traction in markets like Japan and India. Honda's ability to blend reliability, affordability and heritage has made it a strong contender in the segment Harley hopes to enter. But there is hope on the horizon. Enter the Harley-Davidson X440 and X350. These two bikes could be the key to bringing fresh blood into Harley dealerships. So let's break it down. Affordability. The X440 and X350 are priced significantly lower than Harley's traditional lineup, making them accessible to new riders and those who can't justify a $20,000 bike. The X440, made in India, offers a stylish, retro-inspired look with modern technology, while the X350, produced in China, provides a lightweight, city-friendly option for urban riders. The X440 and X350 represent more than just motorcycles, they represent Harley-Davidson's future. Dealers need affordable entry-level models to keep their businesses alive, and these bikes provide exactly that. The road ahead for Harley-Davidson dealers is still challenging, but with the right bikes at the right price, the ride isn't over yet. It's just getting started.
So for those of you not familiar with the model, the X440 is manufactured for Harley-Davidson by Hero Group in India. And this is quite similar to, for example, Bajaj making KTMs in the small capacity market. So we can see here on the website the range of colours and models that they make. There's 3 models, mixture of colours, and you might be interested in the sound that it makes. So here we go. So it's an oil-cooled engine, so it would be in the classic style of no radiators, water pumps or so forth on the outside of the bike, carrying on its classic look. And clearly when it's marketed for India, they're making it much clearer that Harley-Davidson has sublet this manufacturing down to an Indian company. It's got various features on it that make it very similar to sort of the old flat track models of the 70s, but obviously a modern LED headlight there. And I think it's got quite a modern retro look to it. Three models offered here, the S, the Vivid and the Denim. We can see here there's 2 colours that they offer. So this just gives you a bit more of a contrast if I lift up this colour, so badger orange. And we can see here the alternative view. Now this wheel looks remarkably similar to, if you watch Two Wheeled Willie's channel, it looks very similar to the wheels he's got on his classic 500, but we can never assume. We move on to the Vivid here. The Vivid has 4 different colours. Obviously only you can decide what you think is the best for you, but what we're looking down here, you probably see on the bottom of the screen here, is the retail price in India. Now bearing in mind that there are different emissions rules, taxation laws and various standards in different markets, the price on this is sort of in the £2,500 region for those in the UK, and I can look at a dollar conversion if you like, but we have compared to the Royal Enfield Classic 350, their models are slightly cheaper than this, and they're retailing in the UK for around about £4,400. So I would say that these models here, by the time they got to, say, for example, a European market, would probably be in the £4,500 to £5,000 territory, or very similar to that in euros, because the pound and the euro is very close together. So if we look here at this, the specifications, now you'll notice it's got quite an unusual tyre brand here, for example. This is one of the things you get. India is quite a controlled market for imports and exports. So if you wanted to have a premium brand tyre on there, that could be a bit of an issue, simply because of the import rules and how much tax is applied to it. So what might happen is this could go out of the crate, for example, to a UK or European distribution centre and then be upgraded with Metzler tyres, or whichever brand is the best one for the European market, or indeed America. 440cc, yeah, I could imagine this could be quite easily converted with a bit of engineering work to an 880 V-twin, oil cooled, which is kind of what all the old school guys want. Though it's quite interesting. I was thinking, actually, obviously clearly I was riding and alive in the 90s and the 80s, going back a little bit, and the Harley 880 Sportster was somewhat mocked as being a bit of a wimpy model, but now it's seen as, you know, great. So it's amazing how a bit of self-selection makes people sort of yearn back for something that they really didn't like at the time. But in terms of performance, we've got 27 brake horsepower here, which is a perfectly respectable figure for an oil-cooled 400cc engine. I mean, you could probably get a little bit more out of that, but it's more about low-down torque, I would suggest. And we've got all the classic features like gas-filled shocks, spoke and cast wheels are offered, disc brakes front and rear. Obviously, I'm not a Harley Davidson rider. I say obviously, I'm not a Harley Davidson rider, so I do not know what the Connect service is, but I presume it's something very similar to the Tripper. If you know what the HD Connect service is, leave a comment below and let everyone know. This is always good, having a 2 amp USB there as well to provide power for all your phones and cameras and whatever have you that you want to put on the bike. And you can see here, which will make me think it's like a Tripper, there is Bluetooth connectivity there with the ability to answer phone calls, music and navigation. I'm always a bit about that on a motorcycle, but I think navigation is great. But sort of umming and ahhing about music and other distractions. And this model is fitted with dual channel ABS. Now what you'll find as well is in India, which makes things slightly different, and again, which is where you've got to be quite careful if you're comparing prices, is there are a lot of bikes available over there with single channel ABS, where single channel ABS, which is just the front wheel, is not allowed in a lot of other markets. So that's why you have to be slightly careful of trying to compare prices between different markets. And again, we've got some of the, get the mouse working, some great shots here of the bikes. Now, I think that bikes like this would very much attract a younger buyer into the mark, and there is currently no feeder product for this system. So I'm a bit concerned that the fact is that they want to reduce production, raise prices, and they're just going to basically age out their customer market. It was interesting listening to, I think it was Ryan on the Fortnite channel, where he suspected that they may well have actually tipped over the edge already, and they've recognized the fact that they are basically selling to a dying customer base, and they're trying to get the maximum out of that product before it disappears, which is a real shame. It makes you wonder whether the AMC is such a bad thing. If you think now that AMC might have been a good thing for Harley Davidson, again, stick it in the comments below. It's always good for a laugh. Some of the AMC bikes were terrible, though, let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, these are great, aren't they? They've got a great looking road presence, got that sort of flat tracker style. I think I would be quite happy to roll around on one of those. And I wouldn't normally say that about Harley Davidson, and for honest, I did actually look at an 883 when when I was buying in the 90s, and I decided, rightly or wrongly, to buy a K75S, which was probably one of the best bits of fun on two wheels I've ever had. Popping and banging out the exhaust with its rather questionable fuel injection. But yeah, it was good fun. So I think this model has got that young appeal for the brand that it really desperately needs to carry on. And I would be very keen to see these in European showrooms, because it's like everything. I'm a strong believer of activity breeds activity. And if you put something like this into a quiet showroom where people are going into work almost with the expectation they're going to see almost nobody, they're going to deal with almost nobody, they don't have any customer follow-ups to do because they've got such a short sales pipeline with so few people in it, that you become negative, and then when you're negative, the customer who's buying from you picks up your negativity, even though you're trying to hide it. The human is quite an advanced beast. So when you have something that is on paper so easy to sell into a mature Western market, I mean, and there must be a reason why they've decided not to do this. There must be some form of import duties or upsetting the Made in America brigade or whatever it happens to be. So you've got a spectacular success by Royal Enfield. Interestingly, I have to say also that BSA has somewhat fallen flat on its face, but I don't know that that's necessarily the fact that they're aiming for that market. I think maybe the bike might not be just what was wanted in the market, or they may have overestimated the value of the BSA brand within the market. I mean, to be brutally honest, it's, and unless you are, well, let's say over 50 or 60, you're really going to have a very minor knowledge of the product, whereas Royal Enfield has been going and going and going and going, and it took them a good few years to really get going in the market. Because I remember, the pre-unit bikes being sold, yeah, in the 90s, definitely in the 90s. I saw there was a small dealership selling pre-unit bikes, and they did not sell many bikes. And even going through to the Electra, there was very few being sold. So, as with a lot of things, Royal Enfield was, you know, like the music industry. It was the longest overnight success in history. Everyone goes, "Oh, look, they sprung up from nowhere in 2019 or where it was, selling loads of bikes." Well, that's because they'd put the best part of 20 or 30 years worth of work into making that market happen. But still, the export market for Royal Enfield, certainly, if you look at their sales figures, it's just icing. Their home market is absolutely huge. So that may well figure as to why there seems to be no need to export these Harleys, because they can make as many as they can sell in the home market potentially in India. But you have to look at this things logically. The brand with its name will wither on the vine. People will forget what, the win on Sunday, sell on Monday mentality of Harley that there used to be, and this sort of encapsulates that old nostalgic view of Harley Davidson. So Triumph with their 440X, Royal Enfield with their J platform are going definitely in the right direction, and I see no reason why a Harley dealership would not do anything but benefit at least from getting footfall into the showroom looking at these bikes, because people will come in, they will look at these, and they still might go, do you know what, I actually really like a Sportster. I know I've probably sworn at a couple of people there, but if you can't get people through the door, you can't sell to them. You have to have a stepping stone to enter the market. So there's always, with sales, the entry product is always traditionally the one that nobody buys. So with this range of bikes, you can consider that, the entry model probably in most markets, certainly Western markets, would be the lower seller. So we go along to all these three models here. This model here, two colours, top of the range. The medium spec, four colours. The entry model, one colour. So that's giving you the quite a clear notification that here's the starting price bike, here's the draw, here's the hook, but we really, really, really want you to buy a Vivid. And you know what? If you want the extra bits and pieces, here's the S model. But to get to price walk someone into that bike there, you have to advertise this price. So you bring these bikes into Europe potentially. This model will potentially be the lowest seller. This one will be the big seller. And in exactly the same way with Harley's, their product now, their entry bike is quite a chunky monkey in terms of price. So that's a lot of real estate to have in your showroom not selling. People will come in and they will look at this bike, they will own it potentially for 2 or 3 years. Those Sportster models that have become used and on the market, coming down from their 5-digit price to a 4-digit price, then become in part exchange territory for people coming off these bikes. From that, they run that bike for 2 or 3 years, they look at the next price point up, potentially. That's the way a lot of the consumer habits go with this product. And cars, to be fair, because that's where I was before. So it's quite important to have that leading entry, attractive price model, which will sell. Absolutely, the people come in and they'll go, this is a Harley Davidson, love it. And it'll be a garage queen. It'll come out 3 times a year. They'll take it down to the coast, or they'll take it on the sausage run and have a bacon sarnie and bacon and sausage sarnie on a Sunday morning with their mates on the few days where the sun's shining, and love it. And it'll come up as a part exchange with 300 miles on after 2 years. And they'll say, I've owned a Harley Davidson for 3 years and loved it, even though they've hardly used it, because that's why some people. Others will obviously clearly do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles on these things. And because it's built for the Indian market, it will do hundreds and hundreds of miles. So, and not be expensive to fix, unless, Harley screw the parts pricing up and make it too exclusive for UK customers, which would be a real mistake, or European customers. But yeah, that's my view on this model, and I think really this one of the two should definitely be making an appearance in other markets. The Chinese model, yeah, I'm not so sure. Smaller engine capacity, but also ultimately, I don't know. Although you shouldn't be jingoistic about where something's made, because you've got a lot of the Harley product made in Thailand, for example. Could you have a Chinese Harley? Could you really have a Chinese Harley? I just, although it looks the same or very similar, and I suspect it's got a very similar pattern, I don't think it's going to go there.
So I've held back and I've held back and I've held back on releasing this video because of how she put this. The dynamic changes to the international trading conditions brought about by sudden tariffs applied to imports into the United States, and the consequential tariffs that are being applied by other markets in retaliation. So I'm recording this on the 28th of March 2024. And what's been quite interesting is that Harley Davidson in America, at least, have recognised that their base model is an overpriced product, and they have brought the price down to encourage sales. Interestingly, I've also seen stuff popping up that people are trying to buy bikes at this reduced price and dealers are not playing ball. So whether Harley haven't got their ducks in a row in terms of offering existing stock with some form of support so that the dealers can sell them at a profit at this new reduced price, or at least clear their inventory without having their trousers taken down, then I think that will obviously boost sales, and again would add to my price walk theory on this particular model. The other thing that I didn't include in my talk here is about, I was always talking about the young. Now clearly I am not young. I am at the twilight of my riding career, and a lot of us like lighter bikes, and lighter bikes are not baggers. So there could be quite equally people going the other way from a large Sportster or a Dynaglide or whatever they happen to have, and they just want to keep a Harley Davidson, but they want something light and easy to manage. So this could go. So I think the original conclusion of the video still stands, that the 440 made in India would be a sensible global model, whereas the Chinese model would perhaps not be the wisest choice to send around the world, because it would be duplication ultimately, and possibly be a bit underpowered in terms of what global buyers are looking for. And you've got to obviously question whether the fit and finish would also be there, like it clearly is with Indian product in the motorcycle industry. So if you like what I've done here and you've managed to get this far, I'm very appreciative that you've listened to me waffling away with my random opinions. And please put your comments below, and if you think it's worth a subscribe to listen to my witterings, click the subscribe button and the like button and all buttons, as Harry Houdini says. And I shall hopefully speak to you all soon.